everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus with a craft with me. I have a project that I started working on, I guess it was last week. Gosh, it seems like I've been working on it longer, but I think it was just last week. And I need to work on it today because I just need to get it off my desk. And so I thought that I would turn on the camera and chat. And, I'm not really doing a tutorial, but if I think of things to explain while I'm doing this, then I will do so. I just found some more paper when I was cutting paper for envelopes that I think would really look good on here. Anyway, what I'm doing is I've had this idea for a while that Frankenpaper would make a really, really cool like framed piece, and my husband actually already bought me a frame for this. And so what I've got is I've got my pozole recipe here, which pozole is a Mexican soup. I'm not Mexican. And I got the recipe, the original recipe, from a friend of mine who's African American. So it's not authentic. Let's just say it's not. Let's just be right up front. It's not authentic. I think she probably got it from somebody at our church in California, and it was a predominantly Hispanic church. So the origin and the base is probably authentic, but we've both made changes to it. So, and I can't even, I got this recipe from her more than 22 or 23 years ago. And I've probably made loads and loads of changes to it. I can't even remember what all I've done. So anyway, I've been working on this, and because I get asked for this recipe a lot, and I just thought it would be fun to put it up on a piece of Frankenpaper and frame it. And I did the recipe here, but it's really hard to see. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this whole big sheet for the recipe so that it's just really central and focused. And we'll see how that looks. And if it doesn't look good, then I'll put more Frankenpaper over it and do it the other way again. But it's kind of an experiment. I haven't seen anybody really do this before, so I am not quite sure what the best approach is. And I kind of wanted to do this all in black and whitish, kind of off-white, and beiges and browns, so it's all kind of neutral. Anyway, so I was doing a bunch of craft table talks, which will come out next week, I think. I think they're scheduled for like July 16th, 17th, and 19th, on life lessons that I learned while dating. And they're things that don't just apply to dating. That's why they're called life lessons. But I was cutting up a bunch of leftover printed paper that I had from various projects, and I was cutting them up to make envelopes. And I'll probably continue that series while I make the envelopes, because it's kind of a mindless task that I don't need to think about what I'm doing. And I've done some other videos about how to use the envelope punch and how to make envelopes and stuff, so you don't really need me to do that again. So I thought that I would talk while I'm doing that. Well, anyway, one of the papers that I had, this was a piece that I cut off, and I thought it would look really good on this because it's all the right colors, and I don't have any music on here so far, I don't think. I'll show you what all I have. I had so much fun finding things for this. It's all from copyright free sites, or sites where you can download things to use, even if you sell it or something. Usually they don't want you to just sell the design themselves, but use it in your own crafts and stuff, and then it's okay to sell it. So these are from just a variety of that, because a lot of these are papers that I had from other projects. Some of them I did print out specifically for this project because I didn't have a lot of black and white. And one of the things that I think is really helpful about having a lot of black and white stuff, I have a whole file of it now, is that if you've got them in Docs, Google Docs, which is where I organize all my downloads and stuff, if you have them in Google Docs, black and white is perfect because you can make it any color you want. So if I want to do all of these things in green or blue or both, I could do that, and it's really easy. And so, yeah. So anyway, I think it's very helpful and a good thing to spend some time on, getting a bunch of black and white images. Okay, so this is going to be the recipe, and it may not cover all this because you can see this is spaced out more. So if it doesn't, then I'll just cover what's left with some more of these scraps. And I've got a pretty big frame for it. I think it's like 14 by 17 or something like that. And so I'm making a big piece, and I probably won't even finish it all in this recording. So anyway, we'll just see how far we get with it, and I don't know if I'll record every time that I'm working on this or not. So hopefully I'll remember to show you the end product. Sometimes I forget to do that, sorry. But I thought this one with the coffee stain on it was kind of a cool idea, the coffee cup stain. It fit with all of this kind of messiness here. I've got things like, here's an onion. It's mostly like designs and stuff, but here's an onion, here's a chicken, here's a lady making soup. And then there's some scraps that I wrote. I tore out the scrap and then I put it on top of a piece of paper and I just started writing something. So it's only got like part of it. I didn't tear up something that I had written. Could do that too. But I just wanted lots of different kinds of things on this, but all the same colors. Okay, so now you see how I'm tearing this so that I've got the top piece that you pull is going to just have that color. If you want some of the white edge here, which I'm going to use my distressing ink on, then that's going to be your bottom piece. So that's why I'm pulling it this way. And that just works really well. I learned that from Freeman Fischer, or Fisher Freeman, I think. Anyway, she's DearJulieJulie, and she is wonderful. You guys, you need to check out some of her videos. I belong to her Facebook group, which is Scrap All About It with DearJulieJulie. And it's just really encouraging. Everybody there is very nice and warm and encouraging, and I don't think that I've ever, for seldom has heard a discouraging word. I don't think I've ever heard anything discouraging there. People discouraging each other. I've heard people who are discouraged and they get on there and they get encouraged, and that's really nice. So anyway, I'll try to remember to put the link to her group. And she also does challenges every month. Well, she does, okay. So she does a major challenge every month that's basically creating an entire journal, but with various requirements each month. And then she has mini challenges within the challenge, which are due on Friday or Saturday usually. And so it's really fun. It gets you out of your comfort zone. Sometimes I look at those and I go, oh no, I don't want to do this, so I'm not going to participate this month. And then there's just this little niggling thing in me that says, this is how you get out of your comfort zone, and this is how you learn to do new things. And some of the things that I've learned to do as a result of doing those challenges have become some of my favorite things. And the other thing that's really cool is that whatever she has in her challenge, she's going to do some tutorials on during the month. So like if she says you need to have 7 altered paper clips, she's going to do tutorials where she teaches you at least 7 different altered paper clips. So that's really, really fun. So that's one group that I would really recommend. Another group that I'm part of that I highly, highly recommend is Melodi Huey's group called Newbie Junk Journal Makers. And I'm a newbie, just in case you didn't know. I just learned about junk journals for the first time ever in December, and it's July right now. And I've done quite a few since then. I've kind of become obsessed with them because of some of the really useful ways that I can see using them, mainly, and also because I just really enjoy making them. They're a lot of fun. Sometimes I tell my husband, I need to go have some alone time with my sewing machine. And this is just really, I think it's kind of helped keep me sane. Some people would argue with that and say that I'm not sane, but that's okay. That's their opinion. Yeah, I think that shows up a lot better, don't you? I just think that's really good. Let's do a little bit more distressing on the paper itself, I think, just to make it so it's not quite so even. So anyway, so Melodi Huey's group, so to tell you a little bit about that, kind of the, same thing as far as atmosphere. It's very encouraging, very nice. you know, everybody's really nice to each other and everything. And they do something that I think maybe a few other groups do too, I don't know, called RAKs, R-A-Ks, which is Random Acts of Kindness. So you can make something for somebody else in the group and send it to them, and it's really encouraged. And she has, Melodi is just like a natural teacher, and so she has very, very well organized tiers that you can work through. And I think that ultimately what you're trying to do is work through those tiers to get into her advanced journal making group. I'm not really sure, but because I haven't really had the time to look at the tiers all that much yet. I've done like one activity so far. I think I joined them maybe 2 months ago, and you don't have to work through those tiers either. You know, it's just really, it's there if you want it. And she does a lot of instructional stuff. You know, I want to say it's like every day or every week or something. She does a lot. And so she has a lot of videos, and she does a lot of live stuff so that you can ask questions. And I really like that. She's just a really sweet, giving person. And that kind of formulates the flavor for the team. Everybody on there is just really loving and giving and sweet, and it's just a really nice team to be, not team, but a group to be part of. So I like that. The other group that I would highly recommend, and this doesn't mean that there aren't other great groups out there, but these are the three that I'm like most involved in, is Lindsey Zenor's, I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right, but I think I am. Lindsey Zenor's group, which is, oh shoot, I just forgot. Nevermore, I think. I'll post all these below. Anyway, her group is, it's a little bit different. It is also very encouraging and everything, but I think it's, yeah, I wouldn't say that, you know, newbies aren't encouraged to be there, because they are, but you'll see a lot more maybe professionalism, I guess, on there than on the other two groups. And, you know, there are pros and cons to that, and that's why I think it's good to be involved in more than one group, because, you know, seeing that kind of professional level is very helpful. I mean, like, for example, Lindsey is, I would say that she doesn't just do this, but she's very aware of the academic and legal aspects. Maybe not aware, but she talks more about it, more than the other two might, and more than anybody else that I've seen. And this is what attracted me to her in the first place, was because I was looking for information about copyrights, you know, and how do you know if something is copyrighted or if you can use it. And so I saw her video about that, and it was excellent, really, really excellent. And so she's very careful about that. And again, it's not to say that the others aren't, but just that you see her being really careful about that. And so I appreciate that. As an author, I appreciate somebody being careful and educating people about that and everything. So anyway, yeah, so those are the three groups that I would really recommend being part of. And why I was telling you that, I cannot remember. There was a reason. Hopefully I fulfilled it. So anyway, so right now what I'm doing is we're in the places where the old version of the recipe are still showing, like down here. I want to cover those up so that I don't forget to, and I want to do that before I finish sewing this down. And I'm also going to sew over this so that it's really stuck down to it. So I'm going to put some more music in here. I think I'm going to try to put in, I'm not sure exactly where my screen extends to. I want to put several things in at once and just go ahead and cover up that bottom. I'm not sure how far down I can go. I forgot to measure the frame again before starting so that I would know you know, exactly how low I can go, but I know I can go at least a little ways. So I just basically want to cover up that old recipe first so I don't forget and have it be confusing, because I do want this, even though it's, you know, like something to go on the wall, I want it to be practical that somebody could actually cook from it. And I'm thinking maybe I'll even put like a list of ingredients someplace on it too, like maybe like a handwritten grocery list kind of thing. So it looks like it's just part of the ephemera that I've put into the Frankenpaper, but it's actually a useful part. And, so it's just kind of there for the recipient to discover. That's one of the things that I like to build into like my junk journals and stuff, is I don't like to tell about everything on my flip throughs. I like there to be some little surprises that people can discover as they're going through their journal, and hopefully some that they won't discover right away, that they'll find after they've been using the journal for a little while, and then they go, oh my goodness, I didn't know this pocket was there, or something like that. I like to have things like that. I like to imagine if you get one of my journals, I've already imagined all these things about you. I like to imagine somebody writing in a journal, and then 100 years later, their great-great-grandchildren are looking through it, and they discover this pocket that has something really special in it, like some, I don't know, old photographs or a love letter, or even like a little bit of money, because it's like not the value of the money as far as money goes, but the value of something old like that. And I just think that would be really, really cool. I'm kind of thinking of putting like a few $2 bills in some of my own journals and stuff to be discovered later. Because that's one of the things about junk journals, is that they are all one of a kind. You really pretty much can't, by definition, have two junk journals that are exactly alike. They are one of a kind. And so they're really, really special. And when people use them, they kind of become historical documents. And I think those are going to be really cool at some point in the future. It's kind of like a time capsule. Like, I remember when my mom, it may have been when my grandma died, I'm not sure, but she ran across her father's notebook, I guess. It wasn't really even a journal, from when he and I think it was a friend bicycled, did a long distance biking thing for I think a few weeks or something. I mean, this was a long time ago that she found this, so I may not be remembering the details right, but the general idea. Anyway, you know what, the one thing is that I remember from that notebook, it's his shopping list. And he had written down how much different things cost, and I think like a loaf of bread was like 19 cents or something. And I don't even remember anything else that was in that notebook, and there may have been some really cool things in it, but the thing that I remembered was that shopping list. It was just so fun to see what prices were, or what somebody back in those days would use for food on a long distance bike. Ugh, I just sewed that in the wrong place. I smushed it up. Okay, so what you can do, let me show you. An easy way to fix it when you get something that's bulging up like that is just to cut a slit in it like that, and then you can sew it down right on top of each other. It's kind of like making a dart in a dress that you're sewing, or something, like that. So I do that quite a bit because I mess up a lot. Anyway, so I thought that was very, very interesting, and so that's why I encourage people, when they're doing their junk journals, include stuff like your gas mileage and how much your gas cost when you filled up your tank and stuff. Gosh, you guys, 100 years from now, they may not even be using gasoline. So it's like, it really is going to be a cool historical thing. All these things that we think of as junk or ephemera, I do think that they're going to be interesting to people in times to come. And so it's not just the things that you write about, it's the stuff that you gather to put in your journal that also makes it really cool. Okay, so one thing that I'm trying to do as I do this is I don't want to have, I don't want it to look like everything's like piling on top of each other going out this direction. So I make sure that I have some things that are going to end up under other things that might come after them or something, or even before them, so that you've got things in different layers. Does that make sense? I don't want it to look like, okay, I had things under here and then things on top of that and things on top of that and things on top of that, because it looks weird that way. So you want to have some things that are like this little scrap here I put on after sewing all this, so that there's something that's definitely on top. And this piece, this little old newspaper article, it's a copy of a newspaper article, it's not the real thing. You know, I made sure that other things were on top of it almost all the way around it, so that you don't have that effect of everything just being piled on as you move out. So anyway, I hope that's kind of helpful. And then, you know, I like to break things up. Like I've got kind of a big piece of that right here, so I'm going to stick a piece of music in there like that. And I think we'll finish off that top of the recipe there. So yeah, so I don't know, that's my take on junk journals. Of course, you know, different people have different ideas about it, but I hope that somebody will want to look at my junk journals sometime in the future, and I hope that there are things that are interesting to them and things that inspire them. I just hope that there's a lot of cool things for them. And that's one of the things that I love about junk journals too, is that they're interesting because they're interactive. You know, it's like, can you imagine running across something of your ancestors that has all these pockets and stuff? I mean, that's just really cool. And, you know, it makes you wonder what's inside there, you know, instead of just picking up something to read, which is also okay. But I just think that this makes it a lot more interesting and enticing for the person who finds it to read. So yeah, yeah. And like I said, part of the value is in the fact that they are one of a kind. You know, I can, you know, like, you know, I have some junk journals that I hope to make some more that are very similar to them because I really like how they turned out, but there's no way that they're going to be exactly the same, even if I tried to make them the same, and I'm not going to try to make them the same. So, you know, so they really are just one of a kind. Anyway, we are close to half an hour, and my phone, this particular phone, I have two phones, this one goes off at 28 minutes and switches to a new video. So I'm going to stop now, and I may pick this up in another video. Or not. We'll see. Anyway, I love you all. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.